Hi, I'm Hazel, and recently Blizzard gave some content creators an early preview of what's coming to WoW in the next major patch 10.1. Today, I want to round up 8 of the most exciting things that I heard are coming to WoW in the next patch. First of all, I'm cheating a little bit because this is not technically 10.1, but we have an official release date for patch 10.07, that is to say March the 21st. That is less than 2 weeks away. 10.07 is the next upcoming patch to WoW, which is the minor patch that we're going to get before this next one that we're going to talk about. That one features the Forbidden Reach as a new zone with lots to do, and that will be in your hands in less than 2 weeks. 10.1 is called Embers of Neltharion, and it's our first major patch including a new tier and a new zone. The new zone is called the Zaralek Caverns, and it's a larger zone than even Zereth Mortis was. It spans 3 different biomes, making it more visually diverse than other patch zones that we've had, such as Korthia or Zereth Mortis. We've got sulfur pools of experimental waste, crystal caves, and burning lava flows to explore. You will be able to dragon ride in these new zones. It's an underground situation, but your dragon apparently does not care, so you can dodge and weave around stalactites and stalagmites and get to where you want to go. Word on the street is that the snail racing we saw in Legion is making a return. So maybe if you feel like you're not flying very quickly because of all the stalactites and stalagmites in the Zaralek Caverns, then at least you're probably going faster than the snails. This new patch zone comes with a new batch of outdoor armor sets to collect along with some weapons. Here are some examples of the armor you can expect to get out in the Zaralek Caverns. They also showed some cool concept art for weapons that I'm quite excited about. This staff is very important to me as a Drakthir player. The next new thing I'm excited about for 10.1 is there is a new Dragonriding mount coming. Regrettably, I do not have a screenshot to show you, but I bet you anything there will be some flying around by later today. It is inspired by Cloud Serpent design, but it has substantially more legs, so if you were not a fan of like the wiggly woogly noodly Cloud Serpent design, but you liked the overall vibe of it, then this one is probably for you. Having another dragon riding mount to choose from is going to be kind of refreshing. Maybe there's some people out there that haven't felt really connected to any of the 4 that we have so far, and maybe the new one is going to be their spirit dragon. The next new thing, in the Zaralek Caverns, we are going to encounter a new race to befriend, the Niffen. This means a new Renown track, which is something to keep busy with, as well as guaranteeing lots of exciting cosmetics to unlock along the way. The Niffen are mole people that see poorly because they live underground, and rely mostly on smell and sound. Of all of the concept art that I saw, the Niffen are just my favorite. They're the best. Look at how happy this one is. Look at their little houses. The Dragonflight Renown tracks were one of my favorite parts of playing the initial launch of Dragonflight, so I'm really excited to have another one to look at. The next thing I'm excited about for 10.1 is the new raid called Aberrus, the Shadowed Crucible. This is a 9-boss raid taking place in Neltharion's secret laboratory. We've got abandoned experiments and, cool bosses to fight. Once again, normal, heroic, and mythic difficulties will all release together at the same time, and the tier sets are going to be very dragon-themed. Speaking of the new season, we now know which dungeons are in the Season 2 Mythic Plus rotation. The first 4, of course, are the remaining 4 Dragonflight dungeons, so Brackenhide Hollow, Uldaman, Neltharis, and Halls of Infusion. And then for the second half of the dungeon pool, they are once again pulling from earlier expansions. We are going to be going through Freehold, Underrot, Vortex Pinnacle, and Neltharion's Lair. 2 things that I think are particularly notable about this dungeon pool. First of all, 3 out of 4 of those old dungeons they're bringing back have mount drops, so if you were working still on Sharkbait or the Underrot Krog or the Vortex Pinnacle Drake, then this is going to be a great way to kind of weave a little more of that into your everyday Mythic Plus rotation, if that's something you do. And then secondly, I enjoy that Neltharis and Neltharion's Lair are both going to be dungeons in the same season's rotation. Have fun with abbreviating that. I guess Neltharion's Lair will most likely get abbreviated to NL, but there's going to be somebody that doesn't know and they're going to call it Nelth, and then people are going to get confused. That's not so much a feature, but chaos makes me happy, apparently. For the 7th item on my list, heirlooms will now be able to be upgraded to scale all the way to level 70. That will make it even more convenient than it already is to level all of your alts up to level cap. They're also in 10.1 doing another batch of updates to the UI and the heads-up display, so they're working on the group manager, raid frames, quest tracker, and edit mode were all things that were noted. We haven't seen this in detail yet, but I am crossing my fingers and holding out hope for some updates to the default nameplates. I think that's the part of the UI that is still lagging the farthest behind, but the UI is definitely getting some work in 10.1. There's also more story, of course, for all of you story lovers out there. There's going to be new quests and storylines to progress through. And then if you are worried about leaving the regular Dragon Isles behind to go cavern diving, spelunking, fear not, there will be some stuff to do out in the original Dragonflight zones as well. There's going to be new assaults and the normal Dragon Isles from Firak, one of Razageth's relatives. So you'll have at least one reason to come back up to the surface and, see the light of day again. And finally, something that I know many of us have been waiting for, 10.1 is bringing cross-faction guilds. They figured it out, apparently, or at least they have confidence that they can do it on the 10.1 PTR. This was one of the last remaining practical barriers that was standing between you and playing the faction of your personal choice. You already in the live game can trade gold and items between your own alts of opposite factions. You can group up with members of the opposite faction to do instance content like raid, dungeons, PvP. World PvP, I think they are leaving alone and probably should leave alone. Some things are for the faction war, but guilds have been a continuing pain point between players that want to play of opposite factions but still hang out with their friends. So that is something that is coming in 10.1. It's cross-faction guilds. So that is what I know so far about what's on the way in patch 10.1. I bet you there's going to be some interviews from other creators that are forthcoming throughout the day, as well as a PTR later on this month. Thank you for watching. Check back to my channel for other WoW videos, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.